Hello, students. For those of you absent, here is what happened in class over the past week. Please be aware that another student has gone missing. Jack Olin was reported missing Tuesday morning, and it's suspected he went missing sometime during Monday night. You might know Jack Olin as the star student of the golf team. Listen, kids, if you're having a problem, or you have any concerns at all, please come to me or another teacher about it. I didn't know Mr. Jack Olin, but we're all very concerned for his safety. Be safe out there. Anyway, on Monday, we kept reviewing chemical equations. Remember the Todrick Duff the Science Buff video? Now, this past week, we had a bit of a big test on the classification of elements to make sure we really understood it. Most of you did pretty well, and I promised whoever received the highest grade would receive candy. Marcus ended up with the best grade, and he received a single green Jolly Rancher. On Tuesday, we were shadowed by a supervisor, so I made up some questions for everyone to answer on the board. They were as follows. What is the chemical composition of sugar? What are the noble gases? What were the initials of the man who accidentally assassinated JFK? The answers are, of course, C12H22O11, xenon, neon, argon, helium, radon, krypton, or magnesium, and the killer's initials were LWB. Before I forget, please be aware that next week we'll be joined by an assistant. Her name is Mrs. Autumn, and she's extremely nice. An eccentric woman, but a scientist nonetheless. Well, anyway, please be respectful, because even though I'll still be in the classroom, she'll be doing most of the teaching next week to get herself situated. Apparently, she's been working here for a few years already, so you may have already run into her. Wednesday, we did more learning, and reviews. Remember, the biggest thing to remember about those chemical equations is balance. Both sides of the equation must be equal, showing the loss or gain of energy. Balance to the force there must be. Oh man. Dang, that was bad. Sorry. On Thursday, we discussed the mole. Avogadro's number. Just try remembering it as an avocado. With a mole. You'll be using this unit frequently in your conversion, so you need to memorize the number, 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd power. I let you try counting up to this number for an entire hour, while I graded your homework. That was a fun day. 1 mole of marbles glued and stacked tightly together would be enough to cover the entire continental U.S. 70 miles deep. Just keep that in mind when you swallow a mole of H2O in one gulp at the irradiated drinking fountains. For homework, you'll have some equations to do. Feel free to use the web to help solve them. Please don't look up anything for 10. That's a personal hypothesis. Should you get it right, you'll get a prize. Also on Thursday, we learned about how certain chemicals react and how to create the composition of the end result should a new substance be formed. If you were paying attention earlier in the year, you'll know that a chemical change is evident when a new substance forms. Since everyone's been paying attention and doing their work, I decided to have a fun class on Friday. We visited the lab and did some simple mixtures, following a worksheet guide to find the chemical equations. After getting back to the classroom, we took a nap, because I don't think some of you guys are getting enough sleep. I'm worried about some of you, especially when I see you desperately trying to complete my homework in the library before class. Anyway, I would like to be able to let everyone know ahead of time what we'll be doing next week in the event that Mrs. Autumn does record the weekly review and fails spectacularly, which is what I expect. So next week we'll be talking about electrons. We'll go over protons, neutrons, the parts of the atom, and maybe, if you're good, we'll even go into more detail on atoms. Listen, everyone. I know that chemical equations and atoms and whatever are not very exciting. but please at least get something of a grasp on them. You never know what skills may come in handy. You never know what you'll need to learn. Please, take notes, and be aware of your surroundings. As I said, for homework, you'll have some equations to do. Feel free to use the internet to solve, but don't look anything up for number 10. That is a personal hypothesis. My homework will be to work on my Yoda impression. That's all for now, students. This weekend, try to practice awareness. Take down license plate numbers. Collect rocks. I don't know. Do kid stuff. I'll see you next week.